Good day everyone, we are the group 3. For today's discussion, we will talk about relationship of public fiscal administration to fiscal policy and monetary policy. We will be tackle the following. Number 1, the banking system. 2, types of banking system. 3, trends of banking system. 4, characteristics of Philippine banking system. And last, role of banks in Philippine economy.
Good afternoon everyone, I'm Maria Antoinette F. Galin and I will be discussing the banking system. First, let us describe ano nga ba yung bank. A bank is a financial institution regulated at the federal level, state level, or both. The primary role of banks is to deposit and make loans. Ang salitang bangko ay nagsimula sa salitang Pranses na banke o ang salitang Italiano na banca, na ang kahulugan ay money exchange table o bench. Ang terminong ito ay unang ginamit ng European lender na dati ay nagpapakita ng pera sa mesa upang magpahiram ng pera sa mga tao. So, ang mga bangko ay may mga mahalagang papel sa mga gawaing pang-industriya at kalakalan. Sa isang bansa, ang pangunlad ng isang bansa ay nasusukat batay sa kung gaano kahusay gumagana ang sektor ng pagbabangko ng bansa. Initially, people worked well and were less greedy, but because of the increase in problem in the simple lending and borrowing system, it became necessary to introduce the formalized system, as a result of which banking system. So, ang mga pangunahing tungkulin ng mga bangko ay kumukuha ng mga deposito at gumagawa ng mga pautang. Ngunit, ang mga bangko ay maaaring mag-alok ng malawak na hanay ng mga produkto at serbisyo. Kabilang dito ang mga sumusunod. Una ay ang deposit accounts o yung mga bank account na nagpapahintulot sa iyo na magdeposito ng pera at mag-withdraw ng mga pondo. Pangalawa ay yung loans o pautang. Kasama dito ang mortgage loans, auto loans, and personal loans. Next ay ang credit cards. It allows the holder to purchase goods or services on credit. Next is the check cashing services. Dito ay pinapayagan yung mga taong walang bank account na mag-cash in ng mga cheque. Next is wealth management services. Ito ay isang proseso ng pagkonsulta, kabilang dito ang mga konsultasyon ng mga mayayamang kliyente, mga talakayan sa kanilang mga pangailangan at layunin sa pananalapi. Next is the insurance. Ang insurance ay isang kasanayan kung saan ang isang kumpanya o ahensya ng gobyerno ay nagbibigay ng garantiya ng kabayaran para sa tinukoy na pagkawala, pinsala, pagkakasakit o kamatayan bilang kapalit ng pagbabayad ng isang premium. At ang panghuli ay ang business banking. So, ang business banking ay mga pinansyal na pakikitungo ng kumpanya sa isang institusyon na nagbibigay ng mga pautang sa negosyo, kredito, mga savings account, at mga checking account na partikular na idinisenyo para sa mga kumpanya sa halip na para sa mga individual. What is banking? Banking refers to any business entity that accepts and safeguards the finances of other persons and organizations and lends the finances to carry out economic activities such as making profits. So, ang banking daw ay tumutukoy sa anumang entidad ng negosyo. Ito ay tumatanggap at nangangalaga sa pananalapi ng ibang tao at organisasyon. Mahalaga ang pagbabangko sa ekonomiya dahil nagbibigay ito ng mga mahalagang serbisyo para sa parehong mga negosyo at mga mamimili, tulad ng pag-aalok ng mga pautang sa sasakyan, mga checking account, mga pautang sa bahay, bukod sa iba pang mga serbisyo. So, ano naman ang banking system? Sabi dito, ang banking system refers to a collection of a network of institutions that provides financial services to the people. So, ang mga institusyon na kabilang sa banking system ay ang central banks, commercial banks, internet banks, investment banks, savings and loan associations, insurance companies, and credit unions. So, how banking system works? So, holding financial assets is at the core of all banking, and where it began in ancient times, though it has expanded far beyond the days of storing gold coins for wealthy patrons. So, first, a bank takes deposit from individuals or businesses with the promise that the money can be withdrawn when the depositor wants it, though sometimes with a penalty for early withdrawal. Depending on the type of account, the bank also may pay interest on the depositor's money. Then, once a bank has agreed to make a loan, it then borrows the same amount of money in the interbank market as at slightly lower rate. Then the lending comes first. The borrowing to fund the loan comes afterward. Then the bank charge borrower rates that are set to levels at some point above what the banks themselves pay to borrow. So in short, bank lends first, fund later. That's all po for my report. Next reporter, please.
Banking system types. A banking system is a group or network of institutions that provide financial services for us. These institutions are responsible for operating a payment system, providing loans, taking deposits, and helping with investments. So we have here types of bank or ownership basis and types of bank function basis. So let's first go to types of bank ownership basis, the public sector banks. These are banks where a majority stake, more than 50%, is held by a government. The shares of these banks are listed on stocks exchanges. Some examples of public sector banks in the Philippines are Land Bank, Philippine National Bank, Al-Amanah Islamic Investment Bank of the Philippines, Development Bank of the Philippines, Overseas Filipino Bank, and so on. Public sector banks are those banks that are owned by the government. The main objective of this bank is social welfare. Government ownership means that public has input in the bank's decisions, as elected officials or representatives help control the bank. Next is private sector banks, are those banks which are owned by a group of private shareholders. They elect board of directors which manages the affairs of the banks. Some examples of private sector banks are Metro Bank, Security Bank, Union Bank, Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation, Banco de Oro, China Bank, and so on. So private sector banks are the banks that are owned and run by the private sector. Various banks in the country belong to this category. Banks classified as public sector banks are those in which the federal or state governments hold a majority stake. Private sector banks are those whose stock is primarily owned by private companies or individuals. Next is foreign banks. It is one that has its headquarters in a foreign country, operates in the Philippines. These banks are under the obligation to follow regulation of its home country as well as the country in which they are operating. Some example of foreign banks in the Philippines are Standard Chartered Philippines, Mizuho Bank, Manila Branch, Australia, and New Zealand Banking Group Limited, and so on. So, foreign banks is a bank where 50% or more of its shares are owned by foreigners. Foreign banks are those banking companies which open a branch in a different nation than the headquarters. They have their registered office in one country. These foreign banks open a branch in other countries. It is to provide better services and convenience to multinational customers. So last in the types of bank ownership basis is cooperative banks. These banks are registered under the Cooperative Societies Act 1912 and they are run by an elected managing committee. These banks work on non-profit basis and mainly serve entrepreneurs, small business, and self-employment in urban areas. In rural areas, they mainly finance agriculture-based activities like farming and livestock. Some examples of cooperative banks in the Philippines include: first, Isabela Co-op Bank, Cooperative Bank of Bohol, Co-op Bank of Palawan, and so on. So cooperative banks is a government-sponsored bank with a mandate to provide subsidized credit to the American agricultural sector. Cooperative banking is retail and commercial banking organized on a cooperative basis. Cooperative banking institutions take deposits and lend money in most parts of the world. What they discuss here includes retail banking, carried out by credit unions, mutual saving banks, building societies, and so on. So now let's go to types of banks, function basis. First is payment banks. A payment bank is a differentiated bank that will undertake only certain restricted banking functions that the Banking Regulations Act of 1949 allows. These activities include acceptance of deposits, payments and remittances services, internet banking, and function as business correspondent of other banks. Payment banks is like any other bank, but operating on a smaller scale without involving any credit risk. In simple words, it can carry out most banking operations, but can advance loans or issue credit cards. So next is commercial banks. These banks are regulated under the Banking Regulation Act 1949 and their business model is designed to make profit. Their primary function is to accept deposits and grant loans to the general public, corporate and government, and carry many parabanking activities. Some examples of commercial banks are Bank of the Philippine Islands, Metropolitan Bank and Trust Company, Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation, and so on. So a commercial bank is a financial institution that accepts deposits, offers checking account services, makes various loans, and offers basic financial products like certificates of deposit and savings accounts to individuals and small business. Any types of bank account that is used by corporation and businesses. So now let's go to types of banks function basis, exchange banks. So these banks are incorporated outside the country but carry out business in the Philippines. They provide foreign exchange subject to the rules and regulations of the country in which they are operating. They also provide finance to exporters and letter of credit guarantee to importers. For example, Bank of the Philippine Islands and Bank of Tokyo Mitsubishi. Foreign exchange foreign exchange markets serve an important function in society and the global economy. They allow for currency conversations, facilitating global trade across borders, which can include investments, the exchange of goods and services, and financial transactions. These banks maintain stocks of foreign currencies in the form of balances with banks abroad. So, next is investment banks. These banks specialize in assisting corporates to raise finance or for activities such as mergers and acquisitions, raising funds through IPO, underwriting, financial advisory, and etc. Some examples of investment banks are Alpha Primus Advisors Inc., Archipelago Labs, and BPI Capital Corporation. So, an investment bank or a financial services company that acts as an intermediary in large and complex financial transactions. A type of banking that organizes large, complex financial transactions such as mergers or initial public offer underwriting. In general, investment banks assist clients with large and complex financial transactions. This includes underwriting new debt and equity securities, aiding in the state of securities, and helping to facilitate mergers and acquisitions with organizations and broker trades. So last, small finance banks. These banks function with primary objective of providing supply to credit to small business units, farmers, micro and small industries, an organized sector. These banks mainly perform basic banking activities such as acceptance of deposit, check clearance, and providing loan to unserved section of society. So banks which provide basic banking activities like deposits, lending to unorganized activities, entities, micro and small industries, small and marginal farmers, and other underserved sections are known as small finance banks. Then let's try to differentiate the small finance bank on a regular bank, which is the commercial banks. Commercial banks do not have restrictions on the customers that they need to serve, whereas the target customers of small finance banks are unorganized workers, small businessmen, small farmers, micro, small, and medium enterprises.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wilson Banate, and my topic is all about trends. Next slide. Robotic Process Automation, or RPA for short, proved to be an invaluable tool for increasing efficiency, decreasing risk, and boosting cost effectiveness for financial organizations. In banking industry trends for 2024, the key objective for financial organizations will be either maintain existing RPA system or to implement RPA for the first time to keep up with competitors. The primary aim of RPA in the banking industry is to assist in processing the banking work that is repetitive in nature. Robotic process automation helps banks and financial institutions increase their productivity by engaging customers in real time and leveraging immense benefits of robots. Next slide po. Next is open banking. Last year, we predicted such a banking industry trend which would see a rise in the adoption and popularity of open banking. Thanks to its ability to add transparency and personalization to banking experience. This report will be a deeper look at the progression of open banking over the past year, including an overview of major regulatory changes that will greatly impact state of banking in 2024. The best financial decisions consumers need to have access to as much information as possible to ensure the best possible outcome, with all accounts linked together by an app and available on a single platform. Open banking is helping you make most beneficial decision for your financial well-being. With open banking, consumers have a partner looking for them. Not all of us have business acumen or foresight to plan, budget, and invest the best way possible. Next, artificial intelligence and machine learning. Artificial intelligence and machine learning as banking industry trends have been on the rise of several years now, offering many key benefits to the banking industry. One of the top advantages of these technologies are automation capabilities they provide, allowing financial organizations to add a much need dose of efficiency to process like onboarding, anti-money laundering, and fraud prevention, as well covered in the report of AI and ML, will remain key players in the banking space for 2024. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are often used interchangeable, but machine learning is a subset of the broader category of AI. Put in context, artificial intelligence refers to the general ability of computers to emulate human thought and performance tasks in real-world environments, while machine learning refers to a technology and algorithm that enable systems to identify patterns, make decisions, and improve themselves through experience and data. Next slide. The last one is DevOps. A huge part of the problem for banks trying to migrate to a more digital native infrastructure is dealing with the department silos established by legacy technologies. This made DevOps a crucial pillar of support for financial organization in 2023 as they work to unify the objective and action of development of operational teams. As we move into 2024 and begin embracing even more advanced technologies, DevOps will continue to be a vital component of the bank digital strategy. The business value of DevOps and the benefits of DevOps culture lie is the ability to improve the production environment in order to deliver software faster with continuous improvement. You need the ability to anticipate and respond to industry disruptors without delay. This becomes possible within a software development process where teams are empowered to be autonomous and deliver faster, reducing work in progress. One is When this occurs, teams are able to respond to demands and speed of the market. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mara Labon, and today I will be tackle characteristics of Philippine banking system. The first is trust of people. Complete trust of people is very much essential for a strong and stable banking system, so they can deal with the banks and financial institutions freely. The public's trust in the bank is an important aspect of a thriving and stable banking system. Without trust, banks cannot attack or retain customers, including depositors, or meet the credit of needs of the communities they serve. Number two is the handle political pressure. In any country, all banks and other financial institutions should not be under the thumb of politics, and they should not work and grant loans according to their own opinion and need. Handling political pressure in banking is the ability of bank and financial institutions to manage and navigate the influence and demand exerted by political actors such as government officials, regulatory bodies, or the political parties. Number 3. Encouragement to saving. In banking system, banks offer profitable schemes to their customers which encourage the general public to save money. By encouraging people to save money, banks not only help individuals achieve their financial goals, but also foster a more stable and resilient economy. Number 4. Financial institution. People should have the facility and direct access to the banks and other financial institutions. There should be a reasonable number of institutions so that more and more people could get the privilege. This topic it will be discussing in the next topic of Ms. Balyais. Number 5. Increased production. In banking system, banks and other financial institutions prepare great loans for productive purpose, which result in high production of the country. Number 6. Larger capital. Availability of larger capital is an important and essential part of a banking system because financial need of many sectors cannot be fulfilled without it. Number 7. Monetary policy. Application of effective monetary policy is essential in banking system to control the volume of credit in the country. Number 8. Implementation of policies. In banking system, follows the frame of policies of the government and central banks, then it can work more effectively and can show much progress. That's all lang po.
Once again, good day everyone. I'm Marian Bibalyais. I will going to discuss the role of banks in Philippine economy. The banking and finance sector performs a critical function in the Philippine economy as it is primarily responsible for the mobilization of domestic savings and the conversion of these funds into directly productive investments. Ang mga bangko ay nakakatulong sa pagpapaunlad ng ating ekonomiya sa maraming paraan. Isa na rito ang pag-iimpok or savings. Tinutulungan ang mga mamamayan upang magkaroon ng ipon to save or to invest for their future. Pangalawa, pamumuhunan. Tinutulungan ang mga negosyante upang magkaroon ng kapital sa kanilang mga negosyo. So there are two general groups which are the banks and non-bank financial institution. So first, I will be discussing banks financial institution. So these institutions are allowed to collect savings and time deposits to fund loans and also perform the function of providing credit and payment services. First is universal banks. Universal banks are authorized to provide various services including investment, commercial and development banking, mutual funds, and housing loans. Number 2, commercial banks on the other hand are privately owned institutions that accept deposits and offer checking services. Thrift or savings banks is a type of financial institution that specializes in offering savings account and originating home mortgage for consumers. Thrift banks are also sometimes referred to as savings and loan associations. Last, the rural and cooperative banks. Rural banks are privately owned and managed while cooperative banks are organized or owned by cooperatives or federations of cooperatives. The second general institution is the non-banks financial institution. So these institutions are not allowed to collect deposits but may encourage the general public to invest household savings in various financial instruments. Number 1, pension fund institutions. A pension fund is a form of retirement fund, an investment fund which provides its shareholders with a regular income, their pension after they reach their certain age. Number 2, investment banks. A bank that provides financial services for corporate and institutional customers such as investing and raising capital and arranging mergers and acquisitions. Number 3, the financing companies. A finance company is a business which lends money to people and charges them interest while they pay it back. Number 4, pawn shops, a store that lends money in exchange for a valuable thing that they can sell if the person living it does not pay an agreed amount of money by an agreed time. Last, the mutual fund institution. A mutual fund is a company that pools money from many investors and invests the money in securities such as stocks, bonds, and short-term debt. Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, BSP, is the independent central monetary authority of the Philippines that has regulatory and supervisory power over banks and non-bank financial institutions. Ang BSP ay pag-aari ng pamahalaan na nangangasiwa sa mga nauna nating naitalakay, yung non-banks and banks financial institution. So the primary objective of the Bangko Sentral is to maintain price stability conducive to a balanced and sustainable growth of the economy and employment. It shall also promote and maintain monetary stability and the convertibility of the peso. So, this is the end of our discussion. Thank you for listening and have a great day.